Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing you Everton news 24/7 for Monday, the 31st of March. So let's get straight into it with today's headline news, and it's from Everton themselves, and they've reported that the club has suffered a £53.2 million loss for the 12 months up to July 2024 for that financial year. Obviously, on paper, a £53 million loss does look quite bad, but obviously, this is an improvement on the previous losses from last year of £89.1 million, which were announced about this time last year. Obviously, this is in fantastic news in the context of our financial fair play issues over the recent years. Obviously, it's fantastic news that the club finally seems to be moving in the right direction financially under the lead of the Freaking Group. But there was a few key points to note from the summary that Everton posted earlier today from the accounts. So I'll just run you through a couple of the positives there, and obviously one of the main positives and something that we've been looking for so long as a football club is an upturn in commercial growth with new and renewed partners for Everton. The likes of Kick and Ticketmaster fall under that category, two brand new partnerships for Everton in recent years. And this has seen the commercial growth have an upturn of around £2.4 million, which is fantastic to see for the club. It's about time we became self-sufficient and sustainable as a football club. But also, elsewhere in the positives, around £50 million profit of player sales, which again, it all helps the books, it all helps financial fair play. I think we saw in the summer transfer window the likes of Lewis Dobbin moving to Aston Villa and Timmy Rabunum coming in a sort of FFP swap deal. So if you're looking at that, for example, it's a pure profit on the books. Lewis Dobbin leaving Everton, going to Aston Villa, it's pure profit. So again, it does seem like we're being quite savvy in the way that we're running things financially, especially since all the points deductions and things like that. But also, something that I mentioned in my review of Kevin Thelwell's time at the club, the wage turnover so the wages that are being spent in comparison to the turnover of the actual club, the wage turnover ratio is what it's called. That fell from 89% to 81%, which I think is a massively positive step in the right direction to becoming self-sustainable. Obviously, that's all the sort of FFP is sort of designed and tailored to do. It's to try and make you become more self-sufficient, a lot more sustainable, and taking an 8% reduction in the wage turnover ratio, I think is fantastic work by the club, and it shows that we are on the right path. As I said before, it's on paper a £53 million loss in a year doesn't look very good, but when you're considering where we were, 12 to 18 months ago, it's looking a lot more brighter in terms of our financial position. But moving away from that now, obviously that's a positive story. We're moving to more positive stories today, and this one's focusing on the incoming transfer news potentially, and obviously the upcoming summer transfer window now. The dates were confirmed for that. Late last week when it's opening on the 1st of June. So the rumour mill seems to be spinning once again, and this one seems to be another player that is constantly on the Everton rumour mill. It's Sean Longstaff, and the Chronicle Live in the Northeast, they've reported that Everton is set to be ramping up their interest of Sean Longstaff. He only has 1 year left on his Newcastle contract at the end of this season. So whether a sensible deal can be done, or getting Sean Longstaff in on a next to nothing kind of deal, I think that's definitely positive. But if you're looking at the type of player Sean Longstaff is, I think a lot of Newcastle fans maybe will say he's a bit underrated. I personally think he is quite underrated. I think he's a player that can do a good job for us. I think he's a very David Moyes signing in the sense that he's a dependable Premier League player. But for Sean Longstaff, I think he has struggled to get in the team at Newcastle. They do have a very good midfield with the likes of Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and obviously Joe Linton, who's massively come into form in recent years. So Sean Longstaff has kind of been overlooked a little bit, but if he were to come into Everton, I think he would be a fantastic addition to David Moyes' side. So again, let's just see how this one develops in the coming months and coming weeks, because obviously we're going to see a lot of transfer rumours being swirling round in the run up to the summer transfer window. So in my opinion, if that one were to come off, I think I'd be quite happy. But elsewhere, according to Ojogo, which are a Portuguese site, Everton, along with Fulham, Fiorentina, and Ajax, are all in the picture to sign Panathinaikos fullback Georgios Vagiannidis. He's 23 years old. He's played 34 games this season for Panathinaikos over in Greece, scoring 1 goal and getting 1 assist. And the 23-year-old does actually have a £10 million release clause. Sporting did have an interest in January, but they did fail to do a deal. But as I've said so many times with these rumours, I think a 23-year-old fullback, which is playing in Europe's lower divisions, not in one of those top five leagues, which are, stereotypically banded around about. I think it's a good profile of player that we're trying to target. I think it's a good, sort of pedigree of player. I think if you go into the likes of Germany, to Spain, to France, even over to Portugal, I think these leagues have a little bit of a higher tax in terms of paying over the odds for a player which might not have the required potential or the required ability. Whereas if you're trying to unearth diamonds in lower divisions in Europe, for example, I think that's where we can definitely bear fruits and really pick up some gems in the summer. But as I said before, 23 years old, 34 games this season. It's the kind of pedigree we want. It's the kind of player that we want, and it's the kind of profile that we should be going for. So again, as I said with the Sean Longstaff deal, it's one to keep an eye on going into the transfer window, into the summer transfer window. And yeah, if there are any more incoming transfer news, I'll be sure to let you know them. But that is all from me today for the news headlines. Obviously, the biggest one coming in terms of the financial fair play, and obviously Everton reporting the losses. But it's a step in the right direction, Blues. It's a step into get into a good financial situation at the club. So fingers crossed we can keep that going in years to come. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.